The narrative about the recent debate and Biden needing to drop out is now crumbling in front of MAGA's eyes as one of the most prominent newspapers and publications in the swing state of Pennsylvania is calling for Trump, not Biden, to drop out of the presidential race. But before we jump into and break this down, let's check out this quick clip of MSNBC covering it.
Editorial boards in two battleground states are weighing in on the future of the 2024 race. But the Philadelphia Inquirer says it's Donald Trump who should quit. Quote, the sooner Trump exits the stage, the better off the country will be.
This is exactly correct. After Republicans tried to create the talking point and get it circling that Biden has to drop out. Oh, even Democrats are saying Biden needs to drop out. The Philadelphia Inquirer, again, a major publication in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania, is publicly calling for Trump to withdraw from the election. Republicans were so adamant about CNN said Biden needs to drop out. So if you're still backing him, it's cope. Let's see if they now follow their own advice, since major publications are calling for Trump's withdrawal, and they wouldn't be the first, and they're definitely not the only, as Republican Senator Bill Cassidy has also publicly called for Trump to withdraw. So top-ranking Republicans feel this way as well. Something, again, that MAGA would try to say, well, even Democrats are saying, well, even Republicans are saying it. Are you going to follow your own advice? And as the Inquirer writes, due to Biden's poor performance, the real point that should be addressed from the debates is getting buried in the talking points, that being Trump's litany of lies, his bigotry, racism, ignorance, and fear-mongering that usually is packed in with his messaging. With his performance, like, refusing to answer if he would accept the 2024 election results on the first question, it proves that he's a real danger to democracy. Surprise, surprise. It took 3 attempts to even get him to answer this question, and even then he could only say if it was free and fair, but the 2020 election was free and fair, and he still rejects that. So it's a total non-answer. What needs to happen to prove to him it's free and fair? Because over 60 court cases have ruled that it was free and fair, and he's still like, they lost. They can't accept losing or take any accountability. Now, the Inquirer then goes on to mention his 8 years in politics being marred by chaos, corruption, and uncivility, which is absolutely true, from him picking all white male judges, and more so that were ranked not qualified than any other president ever, DEI if I've ever seen it, over half of his cabinet having engaged in unethical conduct or outright corruption, or the president himself, the convicted felon himself, Donald Trump, totaling over 30,000 lies in his 4 years in office, by far taking the throne in that measure as well. It's appalling that Republicans would even want to go back to that, and it's why so many, in fact, do not, and he's now getting calls to exit the race. He destroyed our alliances, left deals that were good on both ends and did not need to be left, and didn't keep up our end of the bargain in lots of them, all while claiming now that America is a failed country, just so he has something to run on, despite America doing better than any country in the G7, having among the lowest inflation of any G7 country, more wages, more job growth. It's just anything that makes him sound good. And that's not patriotism. I'll tell you that right now. During his time in office, he showed classified information to Russians. He got his own children rich with Saudi doing work they had no experience in, raking in billions of dollars, only to turn around and try to point his finger at Hunter Biden for working for the Burisma board of directors, even though Hunter had had direct experience being on a board of directors in prior history. Then Trump took millions of dollars from foreign governments himself while president. He, of course, was the first president to be impeached twice, done so bipartisanly in the House, might I mention. Republicans voted with Democrats to get rid of this felon before now becoming the convicted felon who's running to stay out of prison. And the call ends with acknowledging that Biden does have work to do if he hopes to win and stay in office, but it also mentions his accomplishments, the infrastructure, climate investments, being able to pass bills bipartisanly, even in the polarized House that can't even pass things on their own, but they clearly lay out the reasons that Trump must withdraw. And for a major publication in a critical swing state to do this, this is absolutely brutal for the failed former president.